Hey, welcome to Minutes with me. So, how you guys doing today? I hope you're doing great. I'm doing pretty good. Just trying to get over a sinus infection. So, other than that, I'm doing okay. Today is a lot better than it was a couple of days ago. A couple of days ago, it was rough. But so, today I am so much better, and I'm grateful for that. Anyway, so hope you guys have had a pretty good week, pretty good month. How is July treating you? I hope it's doing good. Yes, July. And actually, what's today's date? Actually, we're like about halfway through July. Yeah, that's how fast it's going by. I mean, the holidays will be here before you know it. They will. It will soon be Thanksgiving, Christmas. Yes, it'll be here before you know it. That's just how fast this time is going by. But yeah, so anyway, you guys, what I want to say to you is whenever you decide to do something, whatever you do is always going to affect other people, one way or another, either positively or negatively. And so, like I said before, whenever you decide to do something, check to see whether or not it's going to glorify God. If it's not, then you shouldn't do it. But a lot of times we decide things and we do things, and it's like we do not think about the consequences of those actions, how they may affect other people. I was reading David. Everyone knows David. You read the Bible, you know about King David. He was considered a man after God's own heart. But David was far from perfect. One thing about David was he was very penitent. Whenever he would do something wrong, he would repent. You know, one of the things that David did, is like the ugliest thing that he had ever did, was when he pretty much took Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. He pretty much forced himself on her. David should have been at war. He should have been fighting with his men. But instead of him being out there fighting, he decided to stay home. And he went outside and he saw Bathsheba taking a bath. And then he just had to have her, even though he had already had a lot of wives already. But he saw her and he took her. He was privileged. He was the king. He figured that he could have whatever he want, even though God had already given him everything he needed. And so he went and he pretty much took Bathsheba, slept with her. She got pregnant. Then he decided, or he was going to cover it up, and so he was like, we just passed off the child as her husband, Uriah. But Uriah, he came home, but he didn't never sleep with his wife because he knew what was more important to him. And so at that time, he was like, he wasn't going to go and sleep with his wife when he knew there was other things that needed to be done. And so they had a hard time trying to make it seem like Uriah was the father. David was trying to cover up what he had done because he knew that he was wrong. He wasn't thinking about God at all in this situation. He was thinking about only himself. And so David figured, there's only one thing that I can do. I'm going to have to make sure that Uriah end up dead. So we're going to add murder into this now. We had adultery already, so rape. Why not murder? So yeah, he had Uriah put in the front of the war, in the very front, so that he can get killed. So yeah, so he figured now what Uriah did, then he can just get away with whatever, So Uriah's dead, but the baby's not going to live. The baby that Bathsheba is pregnant with is not going to live because, that's part of the punishment for what he had done, that the baby would die. And so I think at this point, David figured, hey, I done got away with it. You know, I slept with her, I got her pregnant, I got her husband killed. It's amazing how David had this wonderful relationship with God, and he was not thinking about God the whole time that he was doing what he was doing. And that's how a lot of us are sometimes. We don't think about God. You know, because whenever we sin against someone, whatever we're sinning against him. Of course, you know, later on, David does repent for that. But first, Nathan the prophet, you know, God sent Nathan to him, had to bring up his sins. And like I said, when we make the decision to do something, it just doesn't affect us. It affects a lot of people, those that we're close to. Because what happened after that, his family was never the same again. You know, after that, you know, David's son raped his sister Tamar. Then Tamar's brother Absalom, you know, he had him killed for it. And then of course there was like Absalom decided to get rid of David. All of that happened because of what David had did. All of that happened, all that ugliness in his family that happened was because of David's sin. And I know that, and you can tell that because when you read about the story it's in 2 Samuel verse 12, you know this to be true, and God told him that it was going to happen. Let's see now. So he said in verse 10, it said, "The sword should never depart from your house because you have despised me." And this is what the prophet Nathan is telling David that God said. "You have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus said the Lord, behold, I will raise up adversaries against you from your own house," that being his son Absalom. "And I will take your wife before your eyes and get unto your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of the sun. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel before the sun." So basically what Absalom ended up doing was sleeping with David's wives. And he did it publicly. I mean, everyone saw it. That's basically what God said to him. He's like, look, you went and took Uriah's wife. You did it secretly. Someone from your own household, namely his son, is going to sleep with your wives, only he's going to do it publicly and open. And he did that. And you can read that in the story in 2 Samuel, how Absalom slept with David's wives. He did it openly. He did it publicly. You know, an enemy was raised up in his own home. An adversary was raised in his own home, in his own house. That tells you someone close, and it was his son. So basically what David did, it just opened a door for a lot of bad things to happen in his family. I mean, like I said, Amnon raped his sister. So, I mean, David pretty much raped Bathsheba. So, now you got the brother raped the sister. The other brother, he hears about it. And he kills that brother, so you got murder, you got bloodshed. So Absalom doesn't have absolutely no respect for David at all, because David did not do anything when his sister was raped. So Absalom decided he was going to take the kingdom from his father. And so a lot of that happened in David's family was because of what David had did. And of course, Absalom ended up dead too. So pretty much his family, because of the decision that he made, he pretty much brought the death and destruction to his family. So when he decided he was going to go and take another man's wife, they have that man murdered, he opened the door for the same thing that happened in his household. You had rape and murder in his own home, you know, concerning his children, those close to him, because of what he had done, because of what he had set in order. So, yeah, so it's like you have to be careful what you do, the decisions that you make. You do things where, like, nobody's going to know about it, this isn't going to affect anyone. That's not always true. Because what's done in the dark is going to eventually come to the light. And you cannot think that when you don't do something, it's not gonna. I mean, it's gonna affect other people, and you might not always know how it's gonna affect other people, especially when the truth comes out. And this was David. This was like a David who was once considered a man after God's own heart. You know, he went and did this horrible thing. But like I said, the only thing about David, he was repentant. He did repent. He realized that he had sinned against God. And so yeah, so just before you do anything, when you're decided, hey, it's not going to hurt anyone. It does. Don't bring a curse on your family. I mean, like David pretty much brought a curse on his family. You know, all the things that happened was a result of his sin. You know, so yeah. So anyway, it's a very interesting story. You know, you can definitely read it. Maybe you can get even more from it. I just sort of skimmed over it for time, but yeah, so think about the consequences of your action. Always consider the fact that the decision that you make not going to just affect you, but it's going to affect others and your family. So yeah, think before you act. Think about the consequences. Anyway, so hopefully I pray that you're able to get something out of this story, out of this example concerning King David. You know, but anyway, so yeah. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. I really do appreciate it. But anyway, so thank you for taking time to watch. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And if you're a recent subscriber, thank you. Welcome to the family. And I really do hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I appreciate you all so very much. Look out for each other. Be kind to each other. Stay cool. We've had a lot of hot days. So yeah, stay cool. Anyway, you guys be blessed. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Love you so very much. Goodbye, you guys. Have a good day.